Hello, and welcome back to the book club. Today we're joined by author Nita Round. Nita is just about to release her latest book, A Touch of Fire, which is the fifth of the Towers of the Earth series. Welcome, Nita, and thank you for joining us today.
Hi, Zara. Hi, Camille. Thank you so much for inviting me here today. I write about queer or Sapphic women in genre fiction, fantasy mainly, a little science fiction, some steampunk, a little horror, and a little grimdark as well. But never say never about other options. I have written a contemporary romance, as Nita Round, and I have The Ghost of Emily Tapper, which is a spooky gothic romance. Sometimes it's good to go off-piste, and it stretches the muscles, so to speak. I will also admit that all of my titles will have a romantic subplot, although it will be subtle, because who am I to stop my characters from being attracted to each other? It's going to happen. I can't stop it. For now, I have two series. Both are set in the Towers of the Earth world or universe, Towerverse. There is the Eva Chester Case Files, which is dark Victorian steampunk, and the Towers of the Earth themselves, A Touch of Truth, A Touch of Rage, Darkness, Ice, and now Fire. This is the latest book in the series, and there are several more to go.
I'd like to start this Q&A by asking about the Trinity of Truth. The Towers book have the Trinity as a central theme. What inspired the creation of the Trinity?
In the beginning, there was no Trinity. It started out with one character. Her name is Lucinda Ravensburg, and she's a psychometrist, which means that she has the ability to read an object, to pull out memories that are recorded within inanimate objects. So there we have Lucinda, the psychometrist, sitting in her magical tower, watching the rest of the world go by, and then along comes a soldier. And not just any soldier, this is an airship captain, and her name is Captain Magda Stoner. After all, who could resist a woman in uniform? I couldn't. And that was the second character, and she was supposed to be Lucinda's love interest. More than anything, I rather liked the opening where they met, and the idea of Lucinda meeting her future partner with a slap to the face intrigued me and amused me no end, so that had to stay. The rest of their relationship was to be prickly at best, because Magda is standoffish emotionally, and the reason for this is explained later, and you'll have to read about that to find out why. The third part of the Trinity was most unexpected. This is Ascara, and she has a history with Magda that is before the start of A Touch of Truth. Their history, through a pinch of salt and a hint of hope, is troubled, but they are very close. So when they get listeners to leave the safety of the tower, there is only one person that Magda would ever trust with Lucinda's safety, and that is Ascara. Of course, Ascara is not a demure, quiet character, and the characters became more involved. The story evolved. A triangular relationship between the three of them grew out of the hardships that they faced, and their friendship became so deep that the Trinity of Truth, and that is Raven, Fire and Ice, was born.
What can readers expect from A Touch of Fire?
Well, this is Ascara's story, and so far in the Towers books, she has been a more supportive character. She is important in every book, but this time Ascara stands front and central. A Touch of Fire is all about her past, her present, and a hint of her future. She goes home to Gidhera, where we get to see life inside the ruling clan of Gidhera. Readers will meet her family, get to meet her first love, and meet some of her old friends. The dreamers appear for the first time and will experience clan religion and even take a visit to the temple, and that's worthwhile. There are things that until now no one outside of Gidhera or clan would even know about, and these are all in A Touch of Fire. It's not an easy visit, not for Ascara, not for any of them, as if they haven't had enough trials. Now there are more, and they are very much more severe than anything that's happened before. We will have a mass battle, an ancient enemy, the skittlings. They return after being dormant for a long while, a few generations at least. These are marine creatures that over the years have evolved into something more deadly and stronger. And in the past, all the clan had to do was hold the line and keep their fortifications strong, and then they would win. And obviously, but this time the success of the clan is not assured. In A Touch of Fire, we'll see if they manage to beat the skittlings, because if they don't, the clan will be destroyed.
If Magda, Ascara, and Lucinda each separately invited you to go on holiday, where do you think each one would take you?
Actually, this is quite an easy question. Ascara would take me free climbing in the desert. Think of any of the wadis in Gidhera, Rabia, or along the Dragon's Tail in Amasota. But she'd probably want to do it naked or something. That woman has no shame. But then why should she? I'll happily watch her. No worries. Magda, she would take us in an oceanic ship like the Catch Me, or a tall ship like a two-masted schooner, to an area of the northern seas which are impassable to all but the oceanics. This is Flardenge, and she'd sail to some interesting spot right in the middle, and then she would go wreck diving, whilst I sat on deck drinking pink tea, and not just any pink tea, it would have to be Taniki pink. Lucinda, now that would be a holiday and a half, because being the harbinger of death, she has access to all of the realms, so we could go anywhere. We could take a trip to the realm of the gods, or a trip to the many delights of hell. After all, we have the poison waters, the dread lagoon, the endless night, and the bottomless pit. We could be there for weeks.
Will your next book focus on Lucinda, or do you have another story arc planned for the three?
Book 6, A Touch of Purple, has already been written and is in the middle of the editing phase. For this, the story involves all three characters, although Ascara does have a major role to play. Tower 7, title to be yet decided, will focus more on Lucinda. Her dark magic will come to the fore, and in Book 7, she will raise the final tower of the earth, and as they begin the countdown to the arrival of the sleeping gods. The story is nowhere near done though, and the Trinity needs to prepare quite a bit more before they can take on the Ancient Ones. There's a trip to the realm of the gods, a trip to hell, a search for lost souls, the making of the automaton army, a few prophecies, and the coming of the worm. Towerverse has come a long way since it started, and the final story arc should be completed in Book 13. 13 is a magic number in Towers, 13 clans of the earth, 13 families of the oceanic oceans, and 13 houses of the night sky. We're halfway done.
It's been great chatting to you today. Before we finish, do you have a message for your readers?
This year is going to be a really busy year. I'm excited about the arrival of the Evie Chester audiobook. The characters are given voices and are made even more real. To such an extent now that I'm writing the next book in the series, I can hear the characters as they are in the audiobook. It's awesome. She's she has a small role at first in the Towers books, but she has a much more important role later on, especially now that we've been introduced to Hester, her partner. And so keep an eye out for them and their magics. This year, I will also rewrite Night Sacrifice, but now we're going to go and restart the story earlier in the timeline, introduce Cassie first, so that she will be hunting beasts, and she will introduce the world. I can't say any more than that because I haven't started making it up yet. I'll know what happens when I start writing it, but it will be coming. I also have a vampire urban fantasy. Book 1 is written, and it was written first person for a standalone. But now I have more story ideas, and I think that's going to be, it's going to need to be rewritten in third person so that I can get the other point of view across. Towers 6 will be out in the next couple of months, and I shall start Towers 7 probably later on this year. There will be more details on my Facebook group and on my website. Thank you so much for letting me talk, and I will not tell you how many rewrites I've had to do of this, but thank you. All the best.
Thank you everyone for joining us today. If you want more information about the book and the pre-order link, please have a look at the description below. If you enjoyed this Q&A, please feel free to say hi in the comments below. Look forward to chatting again soon. Bye.